Pastor Washington, legalize marijuana in the state of New York. What is your opinion?
My opinion is that it is not good for the African American community. One, because our community has been criminalized and demonized by it. We have young men that have spent years of their lives behind bars based on the fact that they were trying to sell something to at least try to earn a living to help their families. And now the state, for political reasons or whatever reasons, is going to legalize something that was once illegal, that has caused a decimation in our community, and I don't know whether or not it can be corrected.
At the end of the day, bottom line,
at the end of the day, how can we correct this? Or if we legalize these drugs, are we going to expunge the records of young men and women who have gone to jail, watch this, not even for selling marijuana, but for possessing it? Okay, what are we going to do as a community to see that whatever revenue is gained from this, we put into programs who help people who become addicted because they started out recreationally with marijuana, graduated to cocaine, moved on to heroin or crack. What are we going to do to help those people? Is this money going to be used to help men families? Is it going to be used to bring the infrastructure of our communities back to a solid base and solid footing?
So, Pastor, let's say for argument's sake that the train has left the station and legalized marijuana is coming. Some African-American lawmakers are saying no way will it be passed year one unless you guarantee in writing that the communities that have been devastated are going to get part of these proceeds. On that issue, what do you think?
Okay, well, what I think is we would need to talk about how much of the proceeds we were going to get, what percentage was going to be spent, how it was going to be spent. Is it going to be spent in education? Is it going to be spent in medical treatment? How is it going to be spent? Where is it going to be spent? And what percentage is going to be spent in our communities to help build and reconstruct our communities?
And so the bottom line, Pastor, is that if the money is not spent, then you think black lawmakers should block this?
The black lawmakers should block. Not only should black lawmakers block it, but every lawmaker of good conscience should block it, okay? Based on the fact that what impacts one of us impacts all of us in some way, shape, or form. Crime impacts everybody. The legalization of marijuana, we're not even looking at the fact that it might give an increase in crime in this area, especially violent crime. If I take away the source of income that you have by making it legal, then how do you earn that illegal money you were earning before? It means I have to transfer to something else. So what am I going to transfer if my whole life has been a life of crime?
So, Pastor, legalize marijuana in the state of New York. Is it a good thing?
In my opinion, no. Not at this time. There are too many unanswered questions that need to be answered in a real way. Have we done the background medically to see what the impact is going to be on our community, on our children? Even if we legalize it, let's say it passes and we legalize it, how do we keep 10, 11, 12, 13 years old from smoking it? We already know in this country, you can't keep them from drinking alcohol. You can't keep them from smoking cigarettes. So how do we keep it out of the hands of children who are not old enough to even make the decision about recreational marijuana?
Talk to me, this is my last question, Pastor. Talk to me about the economics of all this.
Okay. The economics of it is this. If you grew up in a black community, I'm from East Baltimore. That's where I grew up, I was raised. East Baltimore in the late 60s, early 70s was decimated by heroin. Heroin came into our communities in the late 60s, early 70s and destroyed families and neighborhoods. A place where you used to have upwardly mobile people moving into the middle class became a war zone. Many of the things that people saw on the television series about Baltimore were actually events that were true from the 60s and 70s and even 80s. All right. Economically, how this will impact our community? Well, it will impact our community in two ways. One, it takes a source of revenue away from young men and women who've been using it illegally. So what do they do at this point to supplement the income that they lose because you legalize marijuana. What do they turn to? They're not going to turn to medicine. They're not going to turn to politics. So what are they going to turn to? If you make marijuana legal, then that means they have to turn to crack, heroin, or some other drug by you making that legal. So economically, it impacts the community because you change the game. You change the game from a misdemeanor to a felony. So what are we going to do with those young people who now feel that they have no other way to earn a living but to sell drugs? Now the drug that they were selling to make ends meet has become legal, so now they move from a misdemeanor to a felony.
Just like that.
Just like that. And so now you're creating something in the community that could result in more violence, more deaths, more harm to the family, and more confusion in a community that's already confused.
Last question, Pastor. So, marijuana, $3 billion a year industry. You're saying that there remains more questions than answers?
Yes. Question, for instance, they're talking about giving a percentage to the community, okay, to help the community. We need to be asking the question, okay, what's the percentage? And what's the percentage going to be used for in the community? Remember, when we passed the lottery, we said the money was going to go towards education. Well, has education gotten better in the state of New York? No, it's gotten worse. So with all the money that's being made, when we brought the casinos into New York State, the money was supposed to be used to help with infrastructure. Has the infrastructure gotten better? No. So, okay, we're going to legalize this now, and so the game's going to change just because you say it's going to change? The game hasn't changed, and you said it's going to change twice already. Now you have a bill on the floor about legalizing prostitution. Is the game going to change? Oh, well, there'll be a percentage given to the community to make the community better. How are we making the community better? By legalizing things that, watch this, not only are illegal, but immoral.